So right now we're talking about scanning palms. Now we're talking about brain scans on grandmothers. This is for kind of more of a fun story, but the International Business Times did this story about a brain scan that was done on grandmothers specifically when they looked at pictures of their grandchildren to see how their brains change just by looking at a photo of their precious grandbaby.
And conventional wisdom is that second to moms, dads are sort of next in line when it comes to those who are the nurturers and the caregivers, but actually in families that have access to the grandmothers are really there to be that nurturer in second place in very key ways emotionally. How many times have you heard parents say, my parents are different people now. They used to discipline me this way, and they won't do that to the grandchildren. Like, it's like they've completely changed who they are when the grandkids come around.
Who is this man? Yes.
Right, I know. They're so generous all of a sudden. They're not on a budget anymore. It's so weird. So what they did for this brain scan was they showed them 4 different pictures. One of them of their own grandchildren, the other one of an unknown child, then the same-sex parent of their grandchild, and an unknown adult, far and above. And so it's like, well, first of all, the grandparents were not loving the child's spouse. Like, that was just, it didn't activate the feelings of empathy and nurturing. But when showed and then also it didn't elicit the feelings of empathy with somebody else's child, only with their own. And it just shows how important those familial connections are. I mean, I don't want to go like too deep on this, but I think about, for example, in the foster care system, how the goal is always to reunite with the family, reunite with the family, reunite with the family. And I think this is part of the reason why. That
there's some sort of like intuitive nature there, but then that doesn't explain people who adopt children or become the parents of the permanent parents of foster children. Some of it's nurture, some of it's nature. I don't think I love seeing the science behind it, but I think we've known for a long time that grandparents just have this certain inclination with their grandchildren that is just different. My grandmother negotiated for me on my behalf with my mother when it came to disciplinary action in ways that I'm sure she saved me from many a spanking.
Here's what I'm wondering, though, is if this brain scan would be, let's talk about an adoptive family again.
Right.
I bet it would bring that same response if you knew that child was going to be adopted into your family. You know what I mean? As opposed, because that's not an unknown, then they're not an unknown person, then they are your child or your grandchild, that sort of thing. So I think that might change the brain scan, too.
Yeah, it's interesting just how, again, to see the science of how our brains respond, like actually respond, like there's a real physiological change that happens in those situations.